All right, another matchup between Cool Umbrella and the Phoenix King in the tournament match. Skaven versus Dark Elves. This matchup has quickly been rising up the ranks as one of the worst Skaven matchups in my opinion. With Malice and Malekith both receiving big buffs, but you need to handle them in very different ways. I found it difficult to build a Skaven build that can both handle Malice or Malekith. Cool Umbrella is opting to bring Deathmaster Snitch, which I think is the wrong choice. It's very cool. It's a very cool, good choice. It's very fun and awesome. Also, it is weak to Spirit Leech, Fireball, and Soul Stealer, one of which every Dark Elf player is going to bring. I can't remember a competitive tournament game where Dark Elf didn't bring Fireball, Spirit Leech, or Soul Stealer in my Skaven matchup, which just means Deathmaster Snitch is on a ticking clock if he wants to get involved. If he spends most of his time invisible and avoiding the enemy, well, then that's 1,500 gold that is just spent to stay alive and provide no support whatsoever. So, unfortunately for Snitch to get his value, he needs to go into melee combat, and if he's in there, any one of those spells can take him out. For the Skaven build, we do have Wolf Rats, 2 Rat Ogres, Gutter Runners, and Night Runners. Gutter Runners have poison. Gutter Runners and Night Runners on the other side, though this Gutter Runner doesn't have poison. I really, really like the Gutter Runner Night Runner combo. Has been doing great work for me recently. More Wolf Rats. Bunch of Skaven Slaves. We do have the elite Natty Booble Sharpshooters and the Avalanche Mortars. Very limited Infantry Corps, a Plague Priest, an Assassin, and Deathmaster Snitch. So a very thin Skaven build as far as Skaven builds go. On the other side, for the Dark Elves, we do have triple Harpy, triple Dark Rider, actually quadruple Harpy if you include the Coils of Cain. We do have Malice Darkblade, a Spirit Leech Caster, a bunch of Dread Spears, 5 Dark Shards, which is interesting, and then a Reaper Bolt Thrower. Bolt Thrower is normal versus Skaven. Like, not super common, but it's not surprising. This many Dark Shards is shocking to me. Avalanche Mortar is doing what Avalanche Mortar do. Currently dealing with those Dark Shards, taking them down a peg. And an overcasted Spirit Leech is going to hit the Avalanche Mortars, but it does a lot of damage to Sorceress of Death as well. Harpies just hovering around, harassing the Natty Boobo Sharpshooters and the Avalanche Mortars. So far not committing to too much. Over here they do commit, but Night Runners and Gutter Runners can actually kick their ass in melee, so I think that might be a bit of an overextension. As, yeah, the Dark Riders are pushed out by Rat Ogre Wolf Rat combos. Good flank control from the Skaven so far. But here's where it's about to get a little scary, as Malice Darkblade does dive in. Now he is fighting an Assassin and Deathmaster Snitch, which they can throw down the Rival Hide Talisman plus Assassin's Trophy and give him literally 0 melee attack and then beat his ass to death. So he has to be a little careful here, and I am curious about the Phoenix King leaving his melee infantry out of the fight for so long, but Malice and the Harpies are all just diving in, it seems like, to their doom. Avalanche Mortars have taken out almost all of the Dark Shards, which is generally why I'm surprised to see them. Dark Shards struggle to get their value out in this matchup because of the Avalanche Mortars, or just regular Poison Wind Globes can also do a real number, so I don't love the Dark Shard pick. Like, maybe 1 or 2 to just harass a Gracier in the late game, but having like 4 or 5 of them seems like an overinvestment. You can see they're just getting nuked down. There's a constant net sound from the Gutter Runners with Poison whenever they throw their little things. They do a slow effect, the barbed net, or this thing, snare net, which also applies the snare sound. Malice, as we saw, got his ass handed to him by the Assassin and Deathmaster Snitch. Now he already transforms into Dazarkan, immediately throws out a Reaper of Souls to try and clear out these Night Runners. And now you can see the real damage is coming in on the Assassin and Snitch with all these Harpies and Dark Riders and everything committing. Now this is probably too many things committing. If Deathmaster Snitch has his spin ability up soon, he could just kill the Crows of Cain outright, so they do back off, which is probably for the best. Quick Spirit Leech onto Deathmaster Snitch. We'll start sapping him of his life force. Now, Skaven are ahead on the balance of power, and I would tend to agree, as these Dark Shards are getting run off. Looks like Dogs and Rat Ogres are being committed to finish them off. Plague Priest is going to get soloed up by Malice Darkblade, but he is a foot character, and with the Scrying Stone giving me 20% damage resistance, plus just being a foot character versus Malice Darkblade, it could be quite hard for Malice to finish him off. Another Wolf Rat is helping to peel the backline from all these Dark Riders, and nice job keeping the Avalanche Mortars alive. Warplock Jezzail's having more issues staying alive, but they're technically still hanging in there. But these Avalanche Mortars have been under constant assault, and they've somehow managed to stay free. Plague Priest trying to throw out a summon, but it looks like he kept getting knocked over. Now he gets one out, and this is going to be a nasty purple globe volley onto all these clustered up units. Oh, the damage, plus the Pestilent Breath. Big stuff for the Skaven. Balance power gets a little bit better for the Dark Elves for a while, and now it's ticking back into the Skaven's favor. As you can see, a lot of things are routing out for the Dark Elves. They have a couple Dread Spears to stay in the fight, but it's mostly down to Malice already. Mostly. Snitch is getting Spirit Leeched over and over. We were worried about this since the start of the game, though most of the Spirit Leeches in the early portion were focused on the Avalanche Mortars. Now they're focusing on a Snitch. You can see he's taking a lot of damage from the last 2 ones. Nice cluster. Does get punished by the Avalanche Mortars. Malice is back in it. He has done enough damage to rout the Plague Priest. It looks like he is even going to get rid of the Assassin. Deathmatch Snitch is charging back in, and he gets a really good poke onto the back of Malice. Plus the net ability, killing off more Dread Spears, as the Avalanche Mortars just really rub it in for good measure. But Reaper of Souls plus a couple attacks from Malice is going to finish off Deathmaster Snitch most likely here. Malice himself is very, very injured. Snitch doing more damage, the more damage Malice already has on him, so he will not hurry up and get rid of that Skaven Lord. Looks like he does. And Natty Boobos is now going to start focusing down. All 3 Skaven heroes are routing, though none of them are dead. So they could technically come back if Malice is killed, but it looks like he gets a nasty shot onto Deathmatch Snitch, which is going to shatter him. Nope. He barely rallies in time, but there we go. He full-on dies. With the death of their lord, Skaven leadership will tank, and you'll see a mass rout coming in across the board for a lot of them. Now, the Warplock Jezzails are still trying to finish off Malice, who is slowly Spirit Leeching himself to death with his Jazarkan transformation. He's just trying to find a fight. We do have a full health Rat Ogre in the far side. More Rat Ogres around the map, and as long as they can stay separated and chasing Dark Elf units, they can let Malice tire himself out, and they will be okay. Spirit Leech caster somewhere died, it looks like, for the Dark Elves. These Wolf Rats have a good amount of health, but just no leadership left in them whatsoever. Looks like they are going to commit to the fight, trying to kill these Dread Spears and save the Avalanche Mortars, but even Harpies could come in and get rid of them. But it looks like the Harpies are much more interested in taking out the Plague Priest, making sure he doesn't come back, so no more summons for the Skaven, no more stall tactics, which is probably very, very smart. Wolf Rats are just going to get peeled off by Malice and the Crows of Cain, but this full health Rat Ogre is probably the Skaven game saver. If it can stay away from Malice, which it's not, it's opting to go in and fight him, which it really just wants to chase after routing units and be as far away from Malice as possible. It really doesn't want to commit to the fight with him because he's trying to heal. He's just trying to stay in melee for as long as he can, and this thing needs to just not die, especially if it can trigger army losses. But if it commits to the fight and takes a ton of damage, then army losses gets further away, and the Dark Elves have a bigger shot in this game. Dread Spears do get attacked by these dogs who have rallied, but with the Crows of Cain rear charging them, the dogs will soon rout. It looks like the Purple Globes have nowhere to go, as the other Harpies will also chase them down. Jazarkan's in here. He's now fighting all his Rat Ogres and Gutter Runners. He will take damage from this. I think that's why the Rat Ogres were committed, but I still just think at this low health point, I think the Rat Ogres should have just avoided him. Because if he dies, right, like these Harpies have low leadership already a little bit, and their lord isn't even dead. So if Malice died, and then in the late game you had full health Rat Ogres versus them, I think they would rout. For now, they're trying to finish the snipe on Malice with some Night Runner support. He is getting very low. He's almost heal capped, though I imagine he's going to throw out another Reaper of Souls here soon and do pretty good damage to this blob and heal himself up a little bit more. Crows of Cain trying to come in for their own healing that only activates when in melee. Can the Skaven really hold on? The Avalanche Mortars are still alive, and they're just running. They're running from these Harpies like, please, please don't hurt us. But they do it last route, and then everything around them routes. Balance of power gets a little bit better for the Dark Elves yet again. Malice is heal capped. There it is. He's heal capped. It's not going up anymore. But big explosion spell. A lot of abilities are thrown out, and it looks like a mass rout is on its way for the Skaven. There it is, Reaper of Souls. But he's already heal capped. He's not healing from it, but you can see all the Skaven units that were healthy routed. Bounce power goes in the favor of the Dark Elves, and as Malice is going to tick away to death, these other Rat Ogres and these Skaven Slaves are just trying to regroup. Let him burn out. Oof. But yeah, if you're out there and in that situation, your full health Rat Ogres should just avoid Malice, let him die, because they didn't do that much damage to him, and he heal capped, so. It's tough though, because he does very small damage to himself, so it's not like you can just run away forever. I get that. Malice does eventually tick away to death. Now it is 2 Harpies on extremely low leadership and a Dread Spear, but I think that might honestly be enough, because the Skaven are looking even worse for wear. Triple fast forward as these Rat Ogres try to fight the Crows of Cain to bail out their other Rat Ogre friends, but now the Crows of Cain are all just up in the sky. They'll continue to follow off these Rat Ogres, it looks like. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to let them rally. Rat Ogres are off the field. Bounce power gets worse for the Skaven. Crows of Cain and the Dread Spears are trying to close in from all sides. These other Harpies are trying to fight some Skaven slaves with a rear charge. They will break them. And Dark Elves claim victory in an absolute slobber knocker of a game. 2,100 on Avalanche Mortars, 1,700 on the Nanny Boos. Gutter Runners did fine if you combine them. Snitch and the Assassin did fine if you combine them as well. Rat Ogres did well. Wolf Rats did well. Night Runners did great. Skaven Slaves honestly did well. Malice Darkblade, 2,900 for him. 1,200 for the Spirit Leech Caster. Harpies, mixed value, but overall good. Dark Shards rode the Struggy Bess. Reaper Bolt Thrower also had a hard time getting stuff done. And then Dread Spears did fine. And Dark Riders did good. GG. Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.